Hey everyone, welcome to Friends First. For this episode, we're going to share with you one of the key things that we use to grow and continue our relationship and our friendship and our intimacy and our togetherness, and that is date night. And we're going to share with you our 3 top secrets to success to make date nights really be something powerful in your relationship.
Hi there, we're Rebecca and Brad, partners in love and friends first. We've been married for 18 years and we've decided to break things up.
So join us for some real conversations about partnership and being our true selves in the small and big moments so we can grow great relationships together.
All right, so years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, we learned a really cool tool called the Magic Relationship Design by our coach and relationship coach, Anahata Graceland. And today we're going to take one of the most valuable parts of that design for us and share it with you. And that's date night. It's a simple thing, but it's had a profound effect on us. And later on in other videos, we'll share more about the Magic Relationship Design because it's been really powerful for us to be able to use it together. In terms of date night, we have the 3 secrets to success that we're going to share with you today, and that is consistency, preparation, and ground rules, or what we establish as important and the expectations we hold with date night.
So, consistency is secret number 1. And when we talk about consistency, what we're really meaning is having it be consistently in the schedule. And so for us, once a week is really the rhythm. And that, like she mentioned, the Magic Relationship Design is a bigger design of sort of how you structure your relationships throughout your whole week and life and months and all that stuff. And so having date night once a week is really a key part of that. And for what that means and sort of the big picture of the design is an evening where you start. For us, it's about 5 or 6 o'clock. And we go through until the next morning without having to deal with or interact with our kids or our work or other responsibilities. And the consistency part of it is that it's in the schedule every week. We have it as Saturday nights almost without fail. Occasionally, there's holidays that happen on Saturdays or other events. And if that occurs, then we reschedule it Friday night, Sunday night, whatever as close to that Saturday as we can get, and put it in there once a week, because the consistency really builds on the deepening of our relationship and our intimacy together and our ability to be real people together and not sort of drift apart. And that actually started to happen a little bit just recently when the whole global pandemic started and everybody kind of went into lockdown and quarantines and all of that stuff. We weren't able to have our babysitter come over anymore to babysit our kids. And we also would sometimes do swaps with other parents, and we were keeping separate from potential exposures. So we had several. Well, we're still in that state, honestly. But for at first we didn't really adapt quick enough to it, and so we got off track with consistent date nights and had several weeks go by where we didn't really structure or create a way to do date night without having our kids go somewhere else or having the babysitter come here. Plus we couldn't go out because the restaurants and everything were closed, and so it kind of just threw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. And what ended up happening, we started to realize is that at different moments we were like shorter tempered with each other. And I started to notice things like coming home after being at the office, because my work, we were still open. It was sort of like we would just talk roles. I'd come home and she'd be like, okay, we got dishes to do. I'd be like, all right, what do I have to do for dinner? And like the sweetness started to decrease and decrease and decrease. And I didn't actually even realize that it was related, honestly. But what I did notice is once we realized we were missing this date night, because it was a whole like, oh, what are we missing? Oh, it's date night. We structured a way to be able to still do it, where we have the kids do a sister sleepover, where they get set up with a movie and snacks and things like that, and they go into their room on the other side of the house, and then we are in our room and we're completely separate. And once we started to enact that, the interactions we were having were much more sweetness and loving and on the same team, and less of sort of that like at each other and short tempered and just role related. And so after the fact, when I looked back on what the change was, I really realized for me personally, and for you,
Yes.
but that missing the date night and then reestablishing it made a huge difference.
Right.
And so, have you ever noticed that? If you've noticed that, you've been on some sort of regular schedule, or you've done date nights and kind of fallen off the horse with it, how has that affected your relationships? You can put that in the comments below.
Okay, the next key point here is preparation, and this one really impacts me a lot. If I go into a date feeling stressed out, it's trouble. I can't stay present as well, or sometimes I'm like trying to push my agenda or do scheduling or just anxious in general or in a logistical mind, and none of that works really well. So if I need to give myself enough space to prepare. So for me, that's starting 4:30 or 5 in the evening, having something in mind that I know that we're doing, an idea of like how I might want to dress or where we might be going back when we went places. But what I might want to bring with me, what if there are stops on the way or stops after we might enjoy, or something at home that would be sweet, and I would set things up for the kids that I could not be concerned about them. And even now, when we're doing our COVID date nights, my preparation is also their preparation. Like if they're set up well, they're not going to be interrupting the whole time. They know where their toothbrush is, they have the toothpaste that's ready, their pajamas, and what their foods are going to be, and they know what time their bedtime is. And so I need to do that with myself some. I need downtime, like a bath is often really nice, some like lotion or special fragrances, or even meditation before, or just laying in my bed for a little bit, or journaling. Sometimes that just helps me change gears. The other thing that I notice in terms of preparation that's really important is to have a scheduling meeting beforehand, so that I'm not like trying to gobble up his attention on our date night with my agenda with the scheduling. So if I notice that type of thinking come up, we'll talk about that in a minute, like I need to just pause and turn my attention back to being present. But preparation makes all the difference in me being able to be really there for it fully. So let me tell you a story about a few months ago. This was pre-COVID. Let's see, we'd had a busy Saturday. We'd missed our scheduling meeting, and kind of been running the whole day. So it was late that I started getting ready. I ended up taking a quick shower, and at the same time I was like, okay, what are we going to do for the kids as dinner? Where are we going? What do I wear? I don't know where we're going, so what should I wear? And then the babysitter gets there, and she's loud and obnoxious, and just feeling like stress, like how are we going to be able to get out of the door on time or ever, and then when we get to the date, I'm still not arrived. I feel anxious. I'm thinking about the schedule. I'm like, I wonder if the kids have the right things, or did I forget something for them? And then I'm also thinking about, wait, tomorrow's a busy day, we better do this and we better do that. So we're eating a nice meal, but I'm more focused on in an anxious capacity, or just logistical capacity, which doesn't leave a lot of room for intimacy and sensuality. And then fast forward to the drive home, of course we get in an argument, and I'm like feeling agitated but not knowing why, and wanting to talk but not wanting to say what's going on with me, and not quite being aware of exactly what was happening with me. And so I trace that all back to like my lack of preparation. And I from then on have really taken my preparation seriously. I need the downtime to rest and change gears. And another thing we do in terms of like setting up the physical space, now that it's COVID time, our dates are pretty much located at home. So we want to beautify the area first. We want candles out and incense. We put a nice cloth over like the desk area, so that we don't engage our minds on the work, and have our schedule books away, and put out sweet foods and think about nice meals so that we're not like having to do dishes and cook throughout our date if we don't want to. And then just plan on some spaciousness. Like sometimes we'll watch a movie, but oftentimes just visiting is really satisfying, especially when we can be present. Like having a loose structure is sometimes really helpful for a preparation, but also having a loose hold on what we do within that structure. Like maybe we'll watch some stand-up comedy, and maybe we won't. Maybe we'll do a little bit of massage or massage each other's feet or something like that, and that is often pretty nice to consider. But what else? Those are the main things I think of.
Back to your story about the not preparation
Yes.
the drive home. It's like I was just thinking of it as
Yeah.
like retelling it,
Yeah.
and it's like you're distracted by that, but since you weren't telling me, I'm like, what's wrong? Something's wrong here, and I
Yeah.
start to like withdraw more.
Yes.
Because it's like I'm like, well, she's not present, she must be mad or something's going on. But I started to withdraw more, and so when you say like, of
Yeah.
course we ended up in an argument,
Right.
it's because it started to engage that because you were
Right. And I'm like, he's judging me,
Yeah.
like, why is he withdrawing? Like,
Right.
I must, I've been a brat this whole date, or,
yeah,
I'm just
right.
going into self-judgment and judging him. And it's like engaging all those roles,
Yeah,
working
for sure.
hard to get rid of.
For sure.
So don't do that. So take the time to really prepare so you can have the full celebration of your date night.
Yeah. So number 3 is the ground rules established, or the etiquette of date night. And this, on some level, is kind of the most important one, though they're all important, because you want to, what we have found to be really useful is to establish, and we don't have a ton of ground rules. It's not like a big list written up on the wall or anything like that, but it's the etiquette or the ground rules of really taking the space and the time to be present as people together, and not not even like a married couple, let alone parents or co-workers or people who work on a house together, or all the different things we do together at different times that engage our role minds and all of that stuff. It's really focused and held sacred that period of time is really about us being full people together, just individuals, just being people together. And it's a great, when you hold that space, it gives you such a good opportunity to really like kind of get to know each other in this sense. I mean, we've known each other for 18 years or whatever it's been, but so I don't mean like that.
23, because we knew each other for 5 years before we got married. So yeah.
And so the point is that it's not like on that level. Like obviously I know her very well, but it's like, what's been happening lately? What are the creative thoughts in her mind? And it gives me a chance to share that too, like what's been going on for me, because we're constantly changing people. We have new thoughts, new considerations, new ideas, new ways to look at the world,
Right.
new things we're interested in. And because we kind of let all that other stuff go of like having to do things and have the etiquette or the ground rule of really taking the space and time to be present and be just whole, full people together, we get to share that space. And so, some of the rules that sort of go along with that is, no like logistical stuff, beyond what we need to, like where we're going and that kind of thing. And, not really talking about, like the kids or family life or things like that. But
because boring,
big, right?
in general.
Yeah, and that engages those roles and stuff.
Yeah.
But a big asterisk on that is that sometimes that comes up,
Right.
like kind of in that example. It's a really great example that Rebecca gave just a minute ago, because that's really what was happening, and what I hear. It's like, yeah, the preparation was part of that, and had you prepared more, perhaps you wouldn't have had those thoughts. But there's sometimes where like that's really at the front of your mind. Little Jimmy's report card came back with a bunch of C's and D's on it, or whatever the case may be, and you can't just like stuff those things down, because then that actually is against the purpose of being present with each other, because
And honest.
you become less present. So sometimes to fulfill the ground rules of not talking logistics, you have to talk logistics, or at least say like, I have this coming up and it's really distracting me, so I just need to say it. Maybe we plan to talk about that tomorrow, or maybe I just need to say it for 30 seconds and have you hear me, or whatever the case may be. But the key is that the purpose that you're pointing towards is to be present, to be fully there with each other as people. So you want to allow for all the things to kind of get out of the way of that. So as much as these are like ground rules, they're also sort of breakable in the sense that it's all about that one purpose together. So, what do you guys do for that? Like, do you have ground rules when you go on date nights, or what ground rules might be useful to put into place to help you have more sharing, more intimacy, become better friends? Put that stuff in the comments. We'd love to hear that from you too.
Totally. I want to add a couple things that are helpful in terms of like the etiquette, and it also coincides with like the preparation, which is just like dressing for the occasion, like dressing to look nice for one another, having nice smells on, and considering like how we're like ourselves as like a sovereign, wonderful person. That's part of the kind of cloak of care and respect that we bring when we come together.
Right.
So,
making it important.
Yeah.
Making that
Right.
event important.
Right.
And giving it that reverence of taking the time and attention to, like she's saying, like you're saying, respect it, and take the care to dress nicely, and to shave and do your hair and all that, whatever,
Right.
those things that you would do, if you're going on a blind date or something. You have somebody,
Totally.
like that's somebody you haven't even met. This is like your partner. It's like even more so.
Right. And then I think another thing that we like to practice is touching each other when we're on date night, and sharing nice comments, to compliments, or thoughtfulness, and questions for each other that bring the other person out. So those are a couple more things I thought of, but anything else? I guess that's it. So thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe and like, put on your notification bell to keep hearing because we'll be sharing more videos over time. We'll also be getting better, so keep watching. We're new at this, but we will get our groove more all the time. So anyways, take care, and we will see you next time.
And remember, we're friends first.
Friends first. Bye.